Welcome to Eagles and Airwaves, voices and topics from Thompson Valley High School.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Metal Meltdowns. I'm your host, Jackson, today. And today we're going to be talking about the Distillers. They're an American punk rock band that formed in LA, California in 1998. So, kind of an older band, and I'll get into it in a second, but they did break up pretty early on. So, the release that we are going to be looking at today is Coral Fang, the album released in 2003. And from the band, it has my favorite material, just in general. And this has to be one of my favorite punk rock bands of all time. So I'm quite excited to get into it and talk to you guys about them today. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Starting with the, rollout of songs that they have on there. So going in order, we have Drain the Blood, Dismantle Me, Die on a Rope, The Gallow is God, Coral Fang, The Hunger, Hall of Mirrors, Beat Your Heart Out, Love is Paranoid, For Tonight You're Only Here to Know, and I don't know if I can say the last name, so I'm just not going to for school purposes. So, some of their most popular songs are off of this release, actually. 4 of them are. At number 1, we have City of Angels with 31 million. That's the only release on their popular songs list that isn't off of this release. So next up, we have Drain the Blood with 27 million plays on Spotify. All of these plays, by the way, I'm just going off of Spotify's statistics. I don't really know in terms of like what they have out on Bandcamp and other platforms like that. But at number 3, we have Beat Your Heart Out. Number 4, Dismantle Me with 10 million. And then last, we have Coral Fang at 6 million. So I'd say that my favorite song off of this release has to be The Gallow is God. And I'll go ahead and play just a little snippet of that for you quickly. Here we go. Very amazing. Very amazing. I love those vocals on there. Some people might find them a little whiny, and I could agree. But amazing vocals. I love that voice. And those vocals and that guitar you were hearing are from Brody Dolly, I think it is. Such a unique voice. I don't really hear anybody that sounds quite like them on any other release that I've listened to. So quite amazing. So I'll just get right into their history here. Let me read off of my handy dandy little note sheet here. So the Distillers are an American punk rock band formed in Los Angeles, California in 1998 by vocalist and guitarist Brody Dolly. So their new members that we have right now are Brody Dolly, of course, and then Tony, and I'm going to butcher this last name, Bevilacqua, I think it is. Then Andy Granelli and Ryan Sin. But the original members are Brody Dolly, Kim Chi, and Matt Young. So Kimchi, I believe, was their bassist. Yeah. But she left pretty early on. So she left to join Exene Cervenka in her band. So they actually replaced her with Dante Sigonia, or Sigona, from the band The Nerve Agents. So he took over on bass for a bit, and then they had Ryan Sin, which is their current bassist, take over on bass. So she wasn't in there forever, but she was one of the original members. I believe that Kimchi and Brody Dolly had like formed the band. They were the two like forming members, and then they found Matt Young to play drums for them. So Matt Young also was, not a permanent fixture of the band. He would also later join Kim in Exene Cervenka's band. So they were looking around and they found Andy Grinelli, which is their current, their current drummer. But I don't want to say current because they did break up pretty early on. Like I said, they had formed in 1998, but they broke up in 2006. So, this band wasn't around for a long time. It was 8 years that they were together. And I'll get into it in a second here. But, there's good reasons why they broke up. Really nothing horrible. No, conflict. But I wish that they would have lasted longer. I would have loved to see what they, eventually came to put out. But pretty short lifespan for a band here. And for how long they were around, dang, they got pretty popular. I believe, I don't know exactly what band that they were playing with, but their first show was at a festival or a bigger kind of concert. So that's kind of cool. I think that it's cool how people recognized their talent, and it really shows that if you have what it takes, your band doesn't exactly need to be around for too long in order for you to gain some traction. And in Los Angeles, that's easier. They got a lot of music stuff going on out there, a lot of people, bigger shows. So I could see how word could get around there. So after Matt left and Andy Grinelli was their new drummer, I think that's about it for the change-ups that they had. So for this release, and for this release only, they had vocalist and guitarist Tony Bradley, who had joined the band. So I'm not really sure in what parts you would hear him, but he's in there. And for this being my favorite release, he must be pretty talented. I'm not sure at how much he was doing, but so I'm gonna get into the ending history of the band. What broke them up? So it all started with Grinelli in 2005. He left the band. I couldn't find any reasons why, but he had left. So of course that's gonna toss stuff up a little bit. And then later, Ryan Sin had also left. So they really were just losing members, and it's hard to find new musicians. I mean, I'm in a band, and me personally, it's difficult to find musicians that want to stay in a band and commit to that. Just finding a drummer took us a couple of months, and I'm hoping we found a permanent fixture, but that's besides the point. It's just hard to find musicians. So the band was just now Dolly and Bradley, but for a while they denied that the band was breaking up. They were just saying that, they were taking a little hiatus, they were just on a break, and that they would be back. But what ended up happening is in early 2006, Dolly had her daughter, Camille. So that's, being a new mother, I think that your priorities are going to be way different. And, she had her good bit of fame, but, that made the band announce that they were officially breaking up. So I feel bad for Bradley in this situation. I mean, he was just kind of left in the dust, but I'm sure it was a mutual decision. So, yeah, that's all I have on the Distillers and the release Coral Fang. So, my final thoughts is that, they had a good little run, and I'm glad that, Dolly had her priorities in check. I mean, think about it. If you were in a band like that and then 2 of your members left, and then all of a sudden you had a child, where would your motivation be? Because thinking about it from my perspective, and I'm sure anybody's perspective, you would have to raise your daughter. You can't just continue looking for band members for this band in what is potentially a dead end. And I mean, physically, she couldn't have been doing the best at the time, too. So I think it was just an all-around good decision for everybody in the band. And I will leave this off with the Metal Meter ranking. So I'd give this release in a 7.5. It's real good. And in fact, every single song off of this release is in my playlist. But I wish there was more. And, some of their songs could kind of sound the same, not really. But her vocals stayed pretty consistent throughout all of that. So that is all I have today. Thank you guys for tuning into my podcast, Metal Meltdown, on Eagles and Airwaves. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and if you did, why don't you consider going and checking out some of the other podcasts on here? We have some real interesting people that have some really, really captivating topics that I think you should give a chance. So again, thank you guys for listening. This has been Metal Meltdown, and I've been your host, Jackson. See ya.